time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Whether business is flying high for you right now, or if you're seeing things more from the view that the dog days have already arrived, hey, this is online, on-demand, predominantly fastener-related talk radio. And if you're in the fastener business, well, you've clicked into the right podcast, and we're so glad to have you aboard. Hey, everybody, Eric Dudas here, and joining me, as always, it's Brian Musker, this time sitting right near me in fabulous rural Northeast Ohio. Hey, Bri, you doing all right?
I am, yeah. I've just switched my outlook at the moment from usually a rather dismal view out the window in Chicago to a relatively dismal view out the window in Cleveland.
Hey, it's not so bad. At least the temps are better.
Yeah, this is true, actually. And I gather it's sort of crappy weather in Chicago at the moment. So it's cool.
Yeah, they say that whatever is happening in Chicago usually rolls into this part of the world a day and a half later. And since I've relocated out here, I found that to be, by and large, pretty true. But, hey, one way or another, it's not so bad because we are in the heart of the fastener industry, right?
Right, we are. And the heart of one of the forms of the fishing industry, too.
That's true. We've caught some pretty nice fish out here so far, haven't we?
Yeah.
But let's not deviate too far off the subject at hand, that being industrial fasteners. This is episode 104 of Fully Threaded Radio. Thank you so much again for joining us on the podcast today. We're publishing just a little bit late, this time on April 22nd, 2016. Sorry about that, folks. We're going to kick off the episode today with a conversation with Würth Executive Vice President Marc Strandquist. He's just back from the Taiwan Fastener Show, where he was a presenter at the Global Fastener Leaders Summit. We'll get the rundown on that and hear his impressions of what's being discussed in Taiwan these days. During today's feature segment, we'll talk with Mr. John Bilton of THB. They're a distributor based in the Salt Lake City, Utah area, and they're also keen in-SQL software users. John has some thoughts on the current market, Asian steel price shifts, and ERP for fastener distributors. This is well worth a listen, folks. I think you'll enjoy it. Then NFDA President Casey McIlhon joins Mike McNulty on the Fastener News Report today to cover the FDI results for March, and Mike will have all the headlines for us. Also, Carmen Vertullo will present the Fastener Training Minute, and it's all just ahead on this action-packed episode, Bri.
Yep.
We've also got a great lineup of sponsors, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we do, and we're so lucky and pleased that we have them. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and the Lindstrom family of companies, including Titan Fasteners. Stelfast, the service you deserve and people you trust. And Lindstrom and Titan Fasteners, Lindstrom, by any measure. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded Radio are Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, in-SQL Software, ND Industries, the Würth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. So thanks to all of you. We need you all and appreciate your support.
Hey, everybody, get with us anytime. Maybe you have some thoughts on that or anything else having to do with the podcast, FCH, so forth, any of our many endeavors. You can do so at the email address, ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter, the handle there, Fully Threaded. And before we get along with this episode, Bri, I think I'll just spend one more moment really thanking our sponsors because we are involved in so many different things. The Fastener Distributor Index, of course, FCH Sourcing Network is our main interest, but in the course of bringing the FCH network to the industry, we really do have contact with the industry in a lot of different ways, and that really is all made possible by the support of our sponsors, because we've put some packages together where really they're supporting us across the board. They're very patient with us, and they pretty much let us do what we want. They're not always supportive of, let's say it this way, everything that we mention on the podcast, but again, they really give us a free rein, and for that we very much appreciate them. Anything you can do to let them know that you listen to the podcast is greatly appreciated, and once again, we appreciate each and every one of you listening in every month and sharing the podcast with your friends and acquaintances.
Yeah, particularly sharing them. So if you think you know someone who could be interested, tell them about it.
Well, folks, this episode is going to fly by just like all the others have. We're on episode 104, hard to believe.
Yeah.
So let's take a break and come right back to put a wrench to this one.
Yeah, right.
Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded Radio. It's Fastener Dog Approved Talk Radio for the fastener industry.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
What's the real value of Lindstrom? You probably know us as a leading specialty fastener master distributor. But what really sets us apart is a commitment to providing added value for the distributors we serve. Over the years, we've developed a solid foundation of value-added specialties, including hard-to-find products, expertise in secondary processes, in-house manufacturing, technical services, and unique inventory management programs. As we continue to expand, Lindstrom is focused on a single goal: to bring our distributors the perfect combination of convenience, flexibility, value, and choice, to be the source for everything distributors need. When you need something special, turn to Lindstrom. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded brand of value-added products and services, visit lindstromfastener.com or call a sales representative at 1-800-572-5550. Lindstrom, by any measure.
Hi everybody, Eric here. I moved to the Cleveland area recently, and they put me on the board of the North Coast Fastener Association. But even if that weren't the case, I'd still urge all my friends to join me and a couple hundred fastener industry professionals at this year's NCFA Distributor Social. This is the 7th rendition of this popular, predominantly fastener-related event, and this year the NCFA is hoping to make it the biggest yet. The Distributor Social takes place May 12th at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Independence, Ohio. It's a great place to meet with fellow threadheads from a wide variety of companies over a few old rusty bolts. And this year, you'll have a chance to hear from the people at Emerald Exhibitions, new operators of the Las Vegas Fastener Show. Don't miss the NCFA Distributor Social on May 12th. For details, check out the NCFA website at ncfaonline.com.
This is Bill Johansson from Delta Secondary in Bensonville, Illinois, the fastener distributor source for all specials and secondary operations. And you are listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Hey, Bri, did you see the spring issue of Link magazine hit the streets?
I did actually, and I noticed the article you're going to mention. I scanned through it on the plane on the way over, and I thought, hydrogen embrittlement. I got to come back and read that fully, because then I might know more about hydrogen embrittlement than Eric does.
Well, I don't think that's going to be that hard, although I did attend the Fastener Training Institute webinar several months ago, but what you say is true. The spring issue has a story on page 12 by Lawrence Klaus. And you know what I noticed right off the bat is, as far as I can remember, this is the first article I think I've read in Link that has 3 continuations. In other words, you jump over from page 12 to page 104, and then you go a little deeper into the book, and then a little deeper still. And yeah, that I think probably speaks to the significance of the subject matter in this case, don't you?
Right. And you would know that much better than I would, but I thought the same thing.
Keep an eye out for that, you know.
I know, it's a constant worry. I know, I've known this for a long time.
The other thing that I noticed right off the bat was here on page 104, which is the second follow-on to this story, is that it warranted a rare Link Magazine Venn diagram, which explains the nexus of risk for hydrogen embrittlement, and I suggest all fully threaded listeners get out there and take a look at that. So they talk about material susceptibility, hydrogen source, and tensile stress, and the nexus of that, as represented in this Venn diagram, is where you find the hydrogen embrittlement. So critical info.
Oh, yeah, and the other piece of critical info is it's a rare advertisement by Fasteners Clearinghouse there, and for those of you who don't know, Fasteners Clearinghouse and Fully Threaded Radio are very closely tied together.
The good old FCH sourcing network. Yeah, folks, we are the people who bring that network to you. An online resource for you. If you haven't gotten out there yet, please do. Whenever you're looking for a hard-to-find part or you're just looking for a new source for some fastener material, get out to www.fastenersclearinghouse.com and take a look. Do some searches, cost you nothing. We'd also be happy to talk to you if you're looking to move some inventory. Our members will tell you we make the phone ring, and if we don't, well, we'll figure out why and make it work. Sometimes it takes us a little bit of fine-tuning, but what we found is, in the end, if you have yourself set up right, the system does work. The network's full of people who want to get with you because you've got what they're looking for. The FCH Sourcing Network, fastenersclearinghouse.com.
Right.
You know, Bri, getting back for just a moment to our favorite subject of hydrogen embrittlement, there was a tweet I saw fly by. This is going back a couple of weeks, but I made note of it because I just had to share it in case, well, I don't know. Occasionally we do have a listener who doesn't pay attention to Twitter.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Believe it or not. This was from our friend Javier Gomez out there in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
He tweeted, bolt, $1. Same bolt without hydrogen embrittlement, $2. Hearing Carmen Vertullo compare hydrogen embrittlement with venereal disease, priceless. Actually said hashtag priceless.
Yeah, very, very good.
Thanks for that one, Javier.
Funny.
I thought it was done very tastefully, Bri.
Yeah, that's true.
Somehow we got that past the censors.
Yeah, we might have to review our censors board, okay?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I was comfortable with it. But I'll tell you what we might need to review, and that is, you know, we've done kind of a crappy job of covering everything that's been going on in the industry with the associations. I noticed the spring has flown by, and a bunch of headlines out there covering some of the things that have been happening. Oh, with the Southeast Fastener Association, they had their big meeting. The Southwest Fastener Association, they had a big event recently, and I know some officers have been named, and yeah, we have to kind of cover all that stuff a little bit better, figure out a way to squeeze all that in. Those are definitely two associations that we're friendly with, and gee, we want to make sure that we give them their due.
And if you're in one of those associations, just make sure that people let us know about any events so we can be alert and tell everyone else.
That really goes across the board, whether you're in an association or not. We're always looking for news, tidbits. And I guess having said that, let's quickly run down a few events that are coming up. The first of which is the North Coast Fastener Association Distributor Social. That's happening May 12th in Independence, Ohio. We've talked a lot about this event in the past, Brian. It seems to get bigger every year. There's some disagreement whether this is the 7th or 8th annual. Perhaps we can duke that out at the social.
Right. And I'm going to be there too. In fact, Lynn will be there as well.
The lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey and Brian Musker will be there, folks. So even more of a reason, if you're in the Midwest Or heck, if you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, get in a plane. It's a small world these days. Get out to Independence, Ohio, May 12th for the social, folks.
Right. This is a great event, okay?
Website for the NCFA is ncfaonline.com. I guess they've got a little bit of pre-social activity lined up as well. Among other things, Carolyn Sprouse of Emerald Expositions is going to be in attendance. She'll be presenting a little bit on the direction of the NIFS show, which is the annual fastener show taking place in October. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about every year. And that ought to be kind of cool. And who knows? There's always a few surprises at the Distributor Social. Running down the brief list here I've got, Brian, in our desperate attempt to remain relevant.
Thank you.
The following day, on May 13th, the Pac West is sponsoring the Mel Kirshner Memorial Golf Outing.
Ah.
Now, there was no Mel Kirshner golf event in 2015. I think in 14 they decided to shift into biennial mode. And so, if you were wondering what happened to last year's, it's not because we failed to cover it. It's because it's biennial now.
Okay.
This time it's happening at the West Ridge Golf Club in La Habra, California. Actually, that rings a bell. This actually may be where it was last time. I don't know. But if you're interested, get the details at the website pac-west.org. Everybody knows Pac West, the grooviest of all the fastener associations. And proving that this year, if you wear a Hawaiian shirt and some kind of a fun hat to celebrate Mel's legacy, you can win a $250 prize, which is being ponied up by our friends over at Duncan Bolt.
So it's a note to Joe. Go and look through your wardrobe looking for a Hawaiian shirt, okay, Joe? Joe Truck.
That's right. And, of course, the Fully Threaded Mulligan Award will be presented again. Talked to Kevin Chavez. He's going to make sure that we really come up with a Lulu of a shot. Winner will receive a fully threaded baseball hat, plus our customary 30-pack of Busch Light beer.
Oh, what a prize.
Lowbrow all the way, man. But
yeah, I know.
You know, it's tradition now, so we really we can't get out of it. But anyway, the Mel Kirshner Memorial Golf Outing, May 13th.
Okay.
And on the subject of golf outings, the MWFA, that's the Midwest Fastener Association, will be holding their biennial tabletop and golf outing. Actually, the golf outing's annual, the tabletop's biennial. Those events are happening June 14th and 15th. That'll be happening in the northwest suburbs of Chicagoland. Get out to see details at the website mwfa.net.
Right, and we'll be at that one too.
FCH will have a presence.
Yep.
Not sure exactly how that's going to work yet. Thanks for reminding me. I got to get with Nancy Rich and set all that up. I'm sure the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey will be there, as well as Sue Rice. A lot of you talk with Sue Rice, FCH member. She's always on the horn, doing good stuff for FCH members. So that's happening again, June 14th and 15th. See you there.
Yeah.
Bri, after episode 103 of the podcast, I thought we were going to be looking at a screw-up of the week.
Oh, I didn't detect that, but okay.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, I think because of a well-intended but misdirected superlative that I used during the episode, and it was pointed out to me by one of the members of Team Würth, and specifically what I'm talking about is I introduced the Fastenal segment. We talked with Gary Polipnik over at Fastenal last episode, you'll remember.
Uh-huh.
And I referred to Fastenal as the world's largest fastener distributor. And it was pointed out that the Würth Group really should have that moniker. And so, to tell you the honest truth, I need to do a little more investigation. And this gets into one of these things where, how do you define biggest? How do you define largest? How do you define best? I mean, these are all, again, superlatives that you can use, and let's face it, they are a lot in marketing and describing companies and businesses and so forth. So I decided to hold off on the screw-up of the week to formal, but I wanted to acknowledge that I actually didn't check it out closely enough probably, and we'll just have to look at that one. And, they're both great companies, and they're both very large companies, and I'm sure in some way Fastenal is the biggest, but Würth is a ginormous force in the fastener world. We're super glad to have both of them as sponsors of the show, and
right.
We like them both. So again, I'll dig into that one a little more carefully.
We'll just call them the two biggest fastener companies in the world. Okay?
Well, yeah, we like them both, and they're both real big. Of course, this is all leading up to a conversation that I recorded with Marc Strandquist as he was returning from Taiwan at the Fastener Show there held in April. And that actually raises another question about superlatives, because I read in a couple of different places they were describing themselves as either the third or the fourth largest fastener show, and they were ranking it next to another show in Asia, which was unnamed in what I read. And of course, that started a conversation about Stuttgart and where the Vegas show falls in that whole mix. Of course, the Vegas show is now calling itself the largest fastener show and mill supply expo, although who knows, with Emerald now at the helm, maybe that'll change. I don't know.
The largest show in North America, we'll go with that, okay?
Well, it's their thing, not ours.
Okay. They can tell us.
I guess it just goes to show that you really need to be careful with your superlatives. On the other hand, you have to kind of listen to them with a grain of salt whenever you hear them in reference to marketing or business.
You could say that goes with lots of things, okay? The emails we receive, unsolicited.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go down that road, Bri. Why don't we get to that Marc Strandquist interview right now?
Okay, let's do it.
The Taiwan International Fastener Show took place on April 11th through the 13th, and fortunately one of our good friends of the podcast, Mr. Marc Strandquist, Executive Vice President with the Würth Group, was there. Marc, welcome back to Fully Threaded, and thank you so much for taking a few minutes to appear with us. I know you're heading right back out the door overseas again.
You're welcome, Eric. I always appreciate the time to talk about different issues with you, so looking forward to it.
Well, you were very involved with the show this year because during the Taiwan show, there was an event called the Global Fastener Leaders Summit, and you were a presenter there. I'd like to ask you a little bit about that. But just overall, what were your impressions of the Taiwan show this year? The last edition of that, of course, happened in 2014.
Correct. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. I was not at that one, so this was my first time. Really enjoyed it. It had 3 different halls. I think it was over 400 different exhibitors. And so all of our key suppliers were there, and it was a beautiful venue. And actually, I thought, really from a quality perspective, I thought it was actually better than the Vegas show in terms of the quality of the booths, quality of the time you could spend with the suppliers. And it was busy. Usually in Vegas, as we all know, with great humor, that by early to mid-afternoon, the show starts to empty out as people go take advantage of the Vegas distractions. And we didn't have those in Kaohsiung. So there was quite a few European customers there for the suppliers there, and there was a good amount of North American customers there as well. So I think it was well attended. It seemed fairly busy. And, the quality of the time spent with each of the suppliers, I thought was quite good.
Now, I know Würth Group does not actually exhibit out in Las Vegas. You were exhibiting, though, in Taiwan, correct?
None of the companies I'm responsible for, no. I mean, we were there as a customer visiting with suppliers.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, there was none of the Würth industry of North America companies were presenting there. So
okay, I misunderstood that. But you had your footprint there. It was just not in the way of a booth. That's cool.
Right.
Got it. Right. So if you felt anything in general, was there a buzz going on at the show, an overall theme that you could discern?
Yeah, I think 2 things that are occurring. There's kind of a confluence of events. The China is really looking hard at the steel industry there, and with what's gone on and with the prices that they put out there, they've lost billions, and so there's a quite active plan in place where they're restricting and starting to shut down some of those old steel mills and reducing capacity, and therefore, even though the economy doesn't dictate an increase in steel prices since January. Certainly, we've been seeing steel increases coming out of China, which are reflective of the reduced capacity. And so the second element of what's going on that was a buzz, as you describe it, was this whole anti-dumping with the EU, and what's that impact going to be? And on the surface, if steel wasn't going up, then the EU companies and customers would have that direct access to the Chinese suppliers again, fill them up, eliminate capacity, and they would be taking it away from Taiwanese suppliers. That's kind of a logical path to take, but that didn't ring true necessarily as you talk to people. I talked to a lot of people, but I would say that out of 10 people, I got 10 different opinions, in terms of what the future is going to hold in terms of increases from suppliers, in terms of capacity that's available. Everybody kind of had a different opinion on what's going to occur, I think, because it was so fresh. Right, the EU decision was in the last 30 days or so, and the prices and what's going on with China steel is within the last 90 days. So I think there was just a lot of mixed conversations about it, and the next 90 days will be critical, because then we'll see what really is going to transpire and what is going to be the impact.
Well, thanks for mentioning that. The whole steel price issue, as you've said, it's got a lot of forces acting on it. I mentioned the Global Fastener Leaders Summit at the top of our discussion here, and I had an opportunity to review that. There's a video of it online. You, again, were a presenter there. The gentleman who was presenting for the European Distributor Association was discussing the EU fallout as well, and one aspect of that, a specific aspect that I had not read about previously, was the market economy status of China, as they're referring to it in this conversation. And I just want to point out again that's another topic that really, it's not settled politics yet, is it? I mean, they threw it out there as though something that people are really carefully considering, but it's really just another idea, isn't it?
It is. And no one in the fastener industry can control what any of these governments are going to do. So we're kind of laying in the weeds waiting for that. But yeah, it was an interesting summit. I think there was probably 300 people that attended it. You had the gentleman from the European Fastener Distribution Association. There was a gentleman from the Italian Fastener Distribution, and then Taiwanese. And then I represented the NFDA here from North America. And everybody, 3 out of the 4 people talked at length about this issue, and I don't think you really got the same answers. For me, I spoke more about kind of the state of the fastener industry in the United States today, and what are some of the impacts and what are some of the metrics that we're following. But to your point, there is no concrete resolution of will there be duties put back into place again. And I think the answer would be no. If China steel is going to increase steel prices, then there's not a dumping argument. It just depends on how much. If it only goes up 2%, then there's still a legitimate argument. If for heaven forbid, but if they go up 25%, then I don't think there's much of an argument for an anti-dumping. And again, no one in our industry has the ability to resolve it, so we just sit on the sidelines and wait.
We are certainly going to do that. We're going to watch and wait. Specifically to your segment of the summit, your presentation, you were attempting to give a thumbnail of the U.S. fastener distribution picture. Of course, that's highly important for the Taiwanese. 40% of their exports, I believe you mentioned, head to the U.S. You were using some ITR numbers, as well as the Fastener Distribution Index during your presentation. I appreciate you referencing us there. That does nothing but add credibility. If you could, in a minute or so, what was your message to the summit?
Well, I think the suppliers appreciate the honesty and the transparency that, when you look at the media reports here in the U.S., and they talk about, as an example, they talk about in March, where that the economy created 200,000 jobs. But unfortunately, in manufacturing, they lost 29,000 jobs. So the jobs that are being created are not good-paying manufacturing jobs. They're not being created because of an economic boon within our manufacturing sector. I mean, it's whatever, McDonald's, service industries. It's not the traditional business that consumes the fasteners, right? The more people build bicycles, tractors, cars, heavy trucks, whatever type of product, they consume the fasteners that we all want to sell.
Right.
And when there's a contraction and they're losing jobs, it's a real reflection. And every supplier I talk to, is seeing the same types of things. Their sales to the U.S. are quite simply just lower than what they were, and it's a concern. And like most people, it's not necessarily a loss of customers. It's just they're buying less, and there's less of a consumption right now, whether it's heavy manufacturing and even light manufacturing to a degree, right? Other than the big three, who even they, in March, the sales growth on the vehicles was not as high as what it was previously, so it's retracting a little bit compared to previous levels. So, we're not out of the woods here in the United States. We still have room to improve and grow within the manufacturing sector. And that's important to our industry and to the listeners, because those are the people that consume the fasteners. It's not the pizza guy. It's not McDonald's. It's not an insurance sales guy. They're not consuming our products. It's the people that assemble and people that manufacture and machine that are consuming our products. So I think we're far from what the media is telling us and our politicians are telling us. We still got some issues to tackle and to improve.
I mentioned the FDI. In a few minutes, we'll be hearing a report on that, and I think it's no secret that we're still below the 50 expansion baseline level. So here's another situation we're going to have to wait and see.
Correct.
Well, congratulations on that presentation. Very well done. You also pointed out that you were speaking in your native tongue. The other gentlemen presenting were having to stretch a little bit, but congratulations nevertheless on a job well done there. And each time we have you on the podcast, Marc Strandquist, Würth is growing again. I know you're heading off to the airport again overseas, but congratulations on the acquisition. This headline came out a couple of weeks back now, it is, but that would be the acquisition of House of Threads.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're pleased. It continues as we move forward with our plans for the future and building a true national platform and competitive collection of companies. They fit really well. There's 3 different areas that we loved about the company. That's their presence in the American Southeast. They're headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama, and we had no facilities in Alabama, so there's 2 there. We had 1 in Georgia, so now we have 2. So there's 3 in northern Florida, 1 in South Carolina, 2 in North Carolina. So a whole number of areas that it fits area of weakness for us. And then secondly, Central Mexico, they have facilities there. We had none, so there's a very nice plug there. And then 50% of their sales was in the construction market, which we think is going to be an opportunity for the next 10 years. And they're a national platform for that. They're in the top 3 nationally in terms of what they do. And the Yielding family, Foster and Lee, are going to continue. It's one of our prerequisites as we look at acquisitions. We generally have no interest in a company where the owner just wants to collect his money or her money and move on. We don't like doing turnarounds, and we don't want to have a new management team. We like to keep the people in place, and they're excited, and we're excited to have them be a part of our group of companies, and I think it's just going to be a great fit.
Yeah, I think that's one thing people really respect about the Würth approach to these acquisitions, and it seems to work very well for you. So congratulations once again. The only thing I'll point out is that you seem to be buying up quite a few FCH members. We'll have to talk about that offline, Marc.
Yeah, I understand.
But it's smooth sailing for you at the moment, and that's great to hear. Hope you have a great flight. Thank you once again for squeezing in a few minutes to talk to us. I know people really enjoy hearing from you.
Well, you're very welcome. You have a great day.
We've been talking with Marc Strandquist. He's Executive Vice President with the Würth Group. We'll be back with more Fully Threaded momentarily.
Fastener Talk Radio. It's like feng shui for the fastener industry. Brian and Eric. Fully Threaded Radio.
Since 1905, Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been supplying the world with high-quality fasteners. Our standard product lines include weld fasteners, braided weld screws, leg levelers, self-clinching hardware, clevis pins, rivet nuts, and various other fastener lines, allowing us to support virtually all types of industries. We have complete custom manufacturing capabilities in low carbon, medium carbon, and stainless steel materials, and our quality systems are registered to ISO standards. Our on-staff engineering department can assist you with product development and provide total technical support. Our knowledgeable sales team members offer superior customer service and are here to answer any questions you may have regarding our products. Having a hard time finding a part? Let our sourcing specialists do the work for you to locate those items. We offer competitive pricing with typically smaller minimums and shorter lead times. To find out more about Buckeye Fasteners, please call us at 800-437-1689 or on the web at buckeyefasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, more than just weld.
Greetings, Fastener Jedis. Trinity Hardware headquarters announces we are the Plowbolt Empire. Zoom over to TrinityHardwareHQ.com and experience an amazing selection of fully stocked plowbolts and 30,000 varieties of fasteners, including packaged clamps and carriage bolts. You can visit this epic assortment and place orders online 24/7. And our online minimum order is now at an all-time low, $25. This is not your father's Plowbolt Empire, Luke. Of course, if you'd rather chat with an actual live person, you can call direct at 888-232-1010 anytime. Come to the light side, where Trinity Hardware headquarters also provides a long list of services to complete your fastener experience. Custom packaging, kitting, and polybagging available. Make Trinity Hardware headquarters your one-stop shopping destination. And may the parts be with you.
Hello, this is Bob Baer, President of the Midwest Fastener Association, inviting you to join us this year on Tuesday, June 14th in Chicago, the heart of the fastener industry, for our tabletop show. This year, our show will be held at the Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village. Whether you are exhibiting or just an attendee, you can plan on an intimate and relaxed show atmosphere where you can meet with suppliers and customers. Although we are labeled a tabletop show, exhibitors include fastener manufacturers, heat treaters, platers, and other fastener service companies from all over the U.S. Immediately following the show is our popular bash, where you can enjoy a cocktail and network with friends in the industry. Finally, join us Wednesday, the day after the show, for the industry's largest fastener golf outing held at Schaumburg Country Club. Even if you don't golf, come on out and join us for dinner and networking. All of the details of these events and show passes can be found on our website at www.mwfa.net. Hope to see you there.
I need 5,000 3/4 10 by 9 and 3/4 grade 8 zinc yellow tap bolts right away, but they're not a standard size.
Solution Man Ken. I carry a wide variety of sizes and I can quickly cut them to any length. See Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Using your bare hands?
I do use a saw and smaller parts, actually.
This is Tom Bohr from the Cambridge Corporation. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, back with you, fully threaded.
Yeah, right here.
Now we're going to have the Fastener News Report coming up momentarily for you folks with Mike McNulty, Fastener Technology International editor. Before we get to that, we have a kind of a piece of news, I guess you'd say. We have part of a piece of news. How about I'll put it that way? We have it on good authority that the Fastener Industry Coalition has made its decision on the 2016 Fastener Hall of Fame Award winner, Bri.
Wow, you have it on good authority. Okay.
That's right. I got that from two separate board members of the FIC. They were engaged in deliberations over the last several weeks. They're sworn to secrecy, so I don't have the name of the winner for 2016, and we're really not sure. There's been no word officially on when the announcement's going to be made. But I could tell you this, the fastener industry is in serious suspense over this.
They await it with bated breath, okay?
As they say. And you know, right after I heard about that, I saw a headline fly by on Global Fastener News, fastenernews.com, about the Soaring Eagle Awards for 2016. Those are presented by the Industrial Fasteners Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And read the summary of the story there, much as I could without drilling down into the story, which I can't read. And went over to the IFI website to read up a little bit more on the Soaring Eagle Awards because, you know, I've looked at it before, but I really, in the subject of issuing Hall of Fame types of awards, I wasn't quite sure where they set. And what I have found is that there are 2 annual IFI Soaring Eagle Awards currently being given. The first one is known as the George S.K. Senior Meritorious Service Award.
Okay.
And on the website here it says the IFI Soaring Eagle Service Award recognizes individuals who have contributed outstanding time and effort in the leadership of the IFI. And this year, again, the winner was Mr. Joe Greenslade. He is the recently retired chairman of the IFI. Everybody knows Joe. He's got an article frequently in the Link magazine and Fastener Technology International. We, of course, have from time to time referred to him as the Elton John of the fastener industry because of his choice of eyewear.
Right.
Flamboyant. But he is definitely a guy who has made his mark on this industry, so it's not surprising that he's a recipient of that award in 2016. The other award is known as the Roy P. Trowbridge Technology Award. And again, from the IFI site, it says, this award recognizes individuals who have extensive experience in the industrial fastener industry and who have made significant contributions to the technological advancement of the fastener industry.
Okay. We'd like to give them awards too if they do that.
Yes. And to that end, this year in 2016, the recipient was Thomas E. Hay, P.E. Congratulations to both of those gentlemen.
Yep.
Seems like the Fastener Hall of Fame, at least my understanding, it's been a little bit more slanted towards distribution, and the IFI perhaps is a little bit more technical. I don't know. Maybe now that things are in flux and the Fastener Industry Coalition is involved, maybe there will be a more clear-cut definition of all this. I'm not sure.
You mean the Fastener Walkway of Fame?
Well, that's a whole nother enchilada.
I know.
Something else that'll probably be under discussion at the upcoming NCFA Distributor Social.
Yeah, I would think so.
The Fastener News Report is brought to us today by Würth Industrial Plastics and Fastenal. Of course, the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and Lindstrom.
Yep.
Get with us anytime, folks. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. We look forward to hearing from you, and we thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And now, here he is, hyper-focused on the fastener industry headlines, Mr. Mike McNulty.
Thanks, Eric and Brian. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Würth Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. At the beginning of April, I ventured to Europe to attend Wire 2016 trade show in Dusseldorf, Germany. The show featured a huge exhibit hall filled with a fantastic collection of machinery, materials, tooling, and accessories for making all types of fasteners. These exhibits helped me stay focused on fasteners while I was tempted with large quantities of superb German beer and German food. Now I am back safe and sound after flashing my up-to-date USA passport to scrutinizing immigration officers on 2 continents, and I'm ready to deliver today's Fastener News Report. In today's report, we're going to reveal the latest results of the Fastener Distributor Index, also known as the FDI. Also in today's broadcast, we have our top story from the Würth Group and newsmaker headlines from Fastenal, Grainger, Bright & Best, Novaria Group, Esna, Align Aerospace, and Southwest Fastener. On the back page report, we're going to talk about totalitarianism and 3D printing of metal parts. We'll get to all of that and last month's FDI results right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Würth Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at VoultPlastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Würth Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. we can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting fastenal.com today.
My customer sent me a print for a bolt specifically for the machine in his shop, but we can't make it.
Solution man, Ken. Provide me with a print, and my superhuman CNC machining team will custom make it for you faster than a manufacturer's rep drinking at an open bar. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionInd.com.
Wow, that is fast.
So are you at the Distributor Social, huh?
Mike McNulty.
In March, the FDI inched up to a seasonally adjusted number of 46.1, a welcome improvement over last month's dismal result of 44.5. Fastener Distributor Index data is collected and analyzed by the BB&T Capital Markets, the FCH Sourcing Network, and the National Fastener Distributors Association. The FDI seeks to identify demand pricing and outlook trends within the American fastener distribution industry. To get some insights on these results, we talked to NFDA President Casey McIlhon of Assembled Products. Hi, Casey. Thanks for joining us on the Fastener News Report.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Glad you could join us. Now, these are modestly improved results. What's your take on them?
Well, I guess I'll start by admitting to the fact that I'm not an economist. I will try to play one here today on Fastener Threaded Radio. And I'll add to that I have recently stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, so it should be just fine to cover this, huh?
So you make a prediction for the future.
You bet. You know that it's kind of sad that a 46.1 is a modest uptick, but that's the economy that we're in right now. And yeah, glad to see that it is rebounding a little bit. It's still in contraction territory, but we always like to see upticks, and that's the strongest number we've seen in the past 3 months, so no complaints.
Yeah, that is. We were on a downturn. The last two were down, so this is good to move in the opposite direction. BB&T had a comment that they said, it's still a strained environment for manufacturers and distributors of fasteners, but they are modestly optimistic. Do you agree with that?
I do. And the reasons for that optimism, I guess, would be twofold. We, with the NFDA, we've got a pretty close partnership with the ITR economic group, and they've been projecting for a little bit here to see a pretty decent uptick the second half of 2016 that they feel should stretch into 2018. Their projections have been spot on in recent years, so that gives me a little bit of reason for hope. We also looked at, the FDI is aligned with the Purchasing Managers Index, the PMI, and a little bit of a divergence here this month as the PMI shot up quite a bit. I noticed they're into expanding territory. So, that along with ITR's projections gives me some good reason for hope, I'd say.
Yeah, the PMI was up to almost 52, and it's been, it had 5 straight months of below 50. So that is, maybe we lag behind the PMI a little bit.
I was looking at that. Bob Baer does a nice graph, and it looks like, just going back a bit, they had always kind of been in sync outside of a couple of months where you'd see some misalignment, and it looks like in those times the FDI would follow the PMI's lead. So let's hope that's the case here.
Yeah, looking at the other data, there's not huge changes on the raw data and employment, sales, deliveries, etc. The thing that jumped out to me, the 6-month outlook is almost an even split, with 37% expecting higher, 32% the same, and 32% lower. I think that's the first time I can remember being almost balanced between the 3 choices.
I saw that exactly, and that is odd. I know it's just maybe we're all a little bit confused right now. It's an election year. There's a lot of uncertainty in the air currently. So yeah, I know that also caught my eye.
Yeah, that's the most I've seen it jump around in a long time. Let's see. Okay, and then we had one of the comments that I wanted to bring up. When people fill out this form, that you can put comments on there, and the one that stuck out to me was the marketplace is still very volatile and unpredictable. Just no true pattern to predictability. So that kind of matches in with the outlook there.
Boy, it sure does. Yeah, if we can, it just seems like we've got a couple of industries that are really lagging, kind of pulling us down with commodity prices, the mining sector and the agricultural sector.
Energy exploration is really bad.
Yeah, right.
Overcapacity in the steel industry and.
Yeah, a couple of things. Just it's fighting an uphill battle all along here right now. It seems like.
Any areas that are sticking out as stronger than others right now?
Automotive is the one that comes to my mind. Has really been the big one that's been keeping things promising.
And that often happens with low, gas prices, and that people are a little bit more confident about buying bigger cars.
Yeah, we do also track, we track housing starts. Those, I think, are starting to pick up a little bit here. Construction, hopefully is also rebounding, and I hope that's a sign of better things to come.
All right. Well, maybe next month we'll get back over the 50 or at least closer to it.
The trend is definitely positive, so hopefully we do follow that PMI lead, get into some areas of expansion, and right into the summer months on a little bit better note.
All right. Well, next time you stay at a Holiday Inn again, we'll have to have you head you back.
That's great. Absolutely, Mike. It'd be my pleasure.
All right, Casey. Thanks for joining us today on the Fastener News Report.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That was NFDA President Casey McIlhon of Assembled Products. The FDI number for March was 46.1. Visit www.fdisurvey.com to participate in the process. Now for today's top story. On April 1st, the Würth Group announced the acquisition of House of Threads based in Birmingham, Alabama. Würth House of Threads is now a part of the industry division as a member company of Würth Industry of North America, one of the largest assembly component distributors in the United States. Offering assembly material and other C parts to OEM customers and commercial construction companies, the Würth House of Threads business further supports Würth's growth plans and accelerates entry into new and adjacent markets. Next up, today's Fastener Newsmaker headlines. Fastenal Company, based in Winona, Minnesota, reports that after several years of holding back on store openings, the company plans to expand this year with a goal of opening 40 to 60 new stores by the end of 2016. Grainger, based in Chicago, Illinois, a broadline supplier of MRO products, has earned the #1 ranking on Fortune's magazine's list of the world's most admired companies in the category of diversified wholesalers. This is the third consecutive year that Grainger finished on the top spot. Brighton Best International in Long Beach, California, has announced the promotion of Dustin Henderson to regional manager for the Denver and Salt Lake City locations, as well as the promotion of Robert Escobar to the Dallas regional warehouse manager. Fort Worth, Texas-based Novaria Group has acquired substantially all of the assets of ESNA, Elastic Stop Nut Corporation of America, from McLean Fog Component Solutions. ESNA is a manufacturer of nylon insert and all-metal fasteners. Aerospace fastener distributor Align Aerospace of Los Angeles, California, has received the 2016 Best Supplier Award from aerospace equipment manufacturer Daher, based in Paris, France. Align Aerospace is a wholly owned subsidiary of Avic International. The North Coast Fastener Association is holding its 2016 Distributor Social event on May 12, 2016, in Independence, Ohio. This year's gathering features a talk and Q&A session by Carolyn Sprouse, the Executive Vice President of Emerald Expositions, the new owner of the Las Vegas Fastener Expo. Carolyn will speak to the group about Emerald Expositions and its future plans for the Las Vegas show. Now let's turn to the back page to talk about totalitarianism and 3D printing of metal parts. I was thinking about going on a rant about the quiet and aggressive creep of totalitarianism, not from the usual suspects in politics, the media, and on college campuses, but from powerful corporate CEOs, entertainers, and science celebrities. After careful consideration, I decided that calling out the power abusers such as Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, Tim Cook of Apple, Bruce Springsteen of the E Street Band, George Clooney of Hollywood fame, and Bill Nye, the self-proclaimed science guy, would take my focus off fasteners. So instead, I am pleased to offer a report on 3D printing of metal parts. Alcoa has entered into an agreement with Airbus to supply 3D printed titanium components for Airbus commercial aircraft. Alcoa expects to deliver the first additive manufactured parts to Airbus in the middle of this year. The agreement draws on Alcoa's decades of aerospace experience and new technologies gained through their recent acquisition of RTI and its expansions at Whitehall, Michigan. Alcoa also recently invested in 3D printing and metallic powder production capabilities at its technical center near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Alcoa says it can use metal wire or metal power as the so-called ink for the 3D printing of aerospace metallic parts. This is interesting progress in the field of metallic 3D printing, and I imagine that the actual results and the real merits of the process will dictate its future, not just grandstanding power abuse of popular activists pushing their own agendas. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International bringing you the Fastener News Report. Remember to send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at mcnulty@fastenertech.com.
Up next, it's John Bolton with THB. He'll be discussing ERP, InSQL, and more. What's all that mean? Find out next on Fully Threaded.
Why do distributors turn to Lindstrom? Because we're committed to being the source for everything distributors need, including packaging and manufacturing. If you need less than bulk, packaged product off the shelf, or custom packaging, Lindstrom has it all. Ask about kits, assortments, and our new VMI bin pack program. Whether you need special lengths or thread pitch, altered parts, studs, or manufactured parts, inch or metric, large parts or small, Lindstrom has you covered. We also manufacture special washers in addition to sockets, bolts, and nuts. Need a prototype part? Call Lindstrom. As the leading specialty fastener master distributor, Lindstrom is focused on a single goal: to bring our distributors the perfect combination of convenience, flexibility, value, and choice. To be the source for everything distributors need. When you need something special, turn to Lindstrom. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded brand of value-added products and services, visit lindstromfastener.com. or call a sales representative at 1-800-572-5550. Lindstrom, by any measure.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries. Innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
The leading event for fasteners and fixings in Latin America takes place June 1st and 2nd at the World Trade Center in Mexico City. Connect with thousands of fastener and fixing buyers at the Fastener Fair Mexico 2016. Fastener Fair Mexico is produced by Mack Brooks Exhibitions, the leader in international fastener shows and organizers of the Fastener Fair in Stuttgart. This will be the second edition of the Fastener Fair Mexico, and as the only dedicated fastener event in Latin America, it is sure to be a huge success once again. Fastener Fair Mexico is the perfect opportunity to grow your business by reaching new prospective buyers and partners from Mexico, Latin America, and beyond. Whether your business is focused on automotive, aerospace, construction, electronics, or household appliance manufacturing, Fastener Fair Mexico is where you need to be. To exhibit, contact the Fastener Fair Mexico team at 781-791-5011. Mack Brooks also invites distributors from across North America to attend this exciting show. To receive an invitation to attend Fastener Fair Mexico as our guest, please join our mailing list at www.fastenerfair.com/Mexico. Once again, www.fastenerfair.com/Mexico. We look forward to seeing you June 1st and 2nd at the Fastener Fair in Mexico City, and bienvenidos to the North American fastener industry.
Well, hi, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo from the Fastener Training Institute, bringing you the Fastener Training Minute from the Carver Fact Center here in beautiful San Diego. The Fact Center is the Fastener Applications Consulting and Training Center, where we solve all your fastener problems. Today, I want to talk to you about something that everyone that's involved in fasteners ought to have a good handle on, and that is your Fastener Technical Library, those books and resources, both made out of paper and electrons, that you use to solve problems and get the information that you need to understand fasteners. So get a pencil out, because there's no video here. You'll have to write a few things down to remember what I'm going to tell you when we come back in a minute with the Fastener Training Minute.
Thanks, Carmen. This is Joe Morris for the Fastener Training Institute. May continues our busy 2016 training schedules. We'll have 2 class events plus our monthly webinar. On May 3rd in Los Angeles, we offer another class as part of our Certified Fastener Specialist CFS series. The Fastener Secondary Process Plant Tour will include visits to long lock fasteners, penetrate metal processing, and sonic plating. This is a required class for obtaining your CFS certification and will give you a valuable knowledge in the critical secondary processes that complete the fastener manufacturing operations. May 23rd through the 27th brings 2016's second session of Fastener Training Week to Independence, Ohio. Fastener Training Week is the intensive version of our acclaimed FTI, Certified Fastener Specialist Advanced Technical Training Program. Instead of 7 separate one-day classes, Fastener Training Week consists of 5 intense days of education and plant tours. Fastener Training Week is co-produced by the Industrial Fasteners Institute and is presented at the Education Center of their headquarters near Cleveland. On May 20th, FTI's monthly webinar series continues with your Fastener Technical Library. Our webinar maestro, Carmen Vertullo, shares with you what you must have, what you should have, and what rocks to have. This non-technical webinar will list and review dozens of technical resources that should be on every fastener nerd's bookshelf or in their hard drive. We're still looking for a webinar sponsor, so please look at the schedule and consider this way to support FTI and fastener training. Please visit our website, fastenertraining.org, for our complete schedule and course details. Now back to Carmen for our Fastener Training Minute.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, and today I'm going to talk to you about 2 books that you should have in your Fastener Technical Library. One of them is kind of obvious, and the other one is not so obvious. And I think we will be talking about fastener technical resources a lot on the Fastener Training Minute in the future. So if you have a book or a publication or some electronic resource that you think is worth sharing, tell me about it, and we'll share it with the rest of the world. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about, which should be obvious to everybody as a book that you should have in your Fastener Technical Library, is the IFI Inch Fastener Standards book, 9th edition, published by the Industrial Fasteners Institute. Many people have this book, but not everybody has the 9th edition. So it's important that you have the latest edition. And as the title says, it's a fastener standards book. It is a compilation of all of the inch fastener standards that matter to most of us. These are the ASME standards, which are covering mostly dimensional specs. They are the ASTM standards, covering mostly material and performance requirements, and some SAE standards, SAE J429 and 995 in particular, from where our grade 2, 5, and 8 products come from, and some quality standards that you need to have. It also includes plating and coating standards, and there is not any commentary in this book, so it's not one of those applications book. It is a book of standards. But as you know, standards tend to change from time to time, so it's important that you have this latest edition. And even it has some standards the day it's published that could be obsolete, but for the most part, the standards are up to date. It's the biggest bang for the buck that you can get in terms of having fastener standards. You can go to the Industrial Fasteners Institute website to buy it. You can buy it either as a hardcover book or the PDF version. I highly recommend the PDF version because, of course, it is searchable, number one. And number two, you can easily do screenshots from it so that you can communicate. You can put it on as many computers as you want, but it will have a dongle that you have to use in whichever computer you want to use the book in. So that is a book that everyone should have, the IFI Inch Fastener Standards book, very obvious. Another book that I discovered at a trade show recently, well, it wasn't recently, it was actually like 20 years ago, is a book called Carpenter Specialty Alloys Heading Hints, published by Carpenter Specialty Alloys. It's called A Guide to Cold Forming Specialty Alloys. And this is a great technical book, and this is not a commercial for Carpenter. They are a provider of wire to all of the folks who make fasteners. The book has lots of really cool applications information. It talks about tooling and heading, coating and lubricants, warm heading. It talks about making hex head cap screws versus screws, thread rolling, secondary operations. It gives us some calculation methods for upset volumes. It's got a great glossary in it. And you can get this book free, quick, and easy. Just Google Carpenter Technology Heading Hints, and it will come right up, download it into your computer, read it and enjoy it, and you'll know some things that a lot of manufacturers don't even know. I shared this book recently with a couple of my manufacturing clients, and they said, where has this thing been all our life? So that's a couple of things that you should have in your Fastener Technical Library. We'll talk about some more the next time we get together for the Fastener Training Minute. It's Carmen Vertullo. Thank you very much for listening.
Hey, this is Clayton Allen from Buckeye Fasteners in Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, fighting for truth, justice, and the Fastener way of life. Well, we've got the news portion of the show under our belt. You feel pretty good about that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Mike McNulty does a great job of keeping us up to the news and what's going on in the industry.
He does indeed. But it's always a little bit of stress out of the way once we're into the features segment of the podcast, and this is going to be a good one. This time we're talking with of THP, their distributors out of the Salt Lake City, Utah area. Vice President of Marketing, Mr. John Bilton. John's out there, I know. Thanks for joining us on Fully Threaded, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Eric. And Brian, appreciate being here today.
That's all right. We appreciate you.
Just before we turned on the recorder, we mentioned we may have an incursion or two from a certain fastener canine. We have some activity going on over in our central office today, but we'll do the best we can. John, we haven't talked with you before on the podcast. Please give us a thumbnail. What is THP all about?
THP is a regional distributor of fasteners and other products. We do some supply products for our clients, and we have an office in North Salt Lake City, Utah, and a satellite office in Boise, Idaho, the thriving metropolis of Boise.
Been there.
The reality of it is that for a lot of us, we don't talk to too many people who operate in your neck of the woods. And is it a little bit different, do you think, than somebody who maybe operates in a hotbed of fastener activity? I mean, do you find your business maybe is a little bit more dispersed over sectors, or how does that impact what you do?
Sure. I would say the answer to your question simply is yes, and maybe I can offer a little color on that. We have to serve different marketplaces than maybe some of the more concentrated metros or areas that have a different manufacturing base. We find ourselves dealing with a variety of manufacturer types, original equipment manufacturers in our area. Oftentimes are satellite offices of larger national companies, They may have a facility in a remote rural area that we have to service, and we find ourselves having to go out and see those guys and work with them, and then oftentimes work backwards to their headquarters in California or on the East Coast to get approvals and then supply this particular plant or facility with fasteners and materials for them that may be different than what's happening in their headquarter marketplace. So I think for us, it's varied in the type of supply that we give and kind of distribution model that we have that would probably be different than some of the guys on the coast.
Right. So having said that, where is THB concentrating its efforts?
We try to concentrate our efforts today on original equipment manufacturers and on oil and gas field services, for instance. We've got, like people like Chevron are here, but of course they're not headquartered here, and so we sell to, the local Chevron facilities and things like that. But we really focus on the original equipment manufacturers that we can find in our geography.
Yep.
And then we have some that, frankly, are large multinational companies that have facilities here where we find ourselves shipping to their local facilities and then shipping worldwide for some of these guys. We're shipping for one of our customers to 8 different countries right now outside the United States. Yet we deal with one of their large facilities here. And as a result, we've found a lot of other business and opportunity with their plants worldwide. And that's been very nice and successful for us and fun, frankly, because we've been able to do some things that are a little different than maybe you would traditionally do with a small regional or medium-sized regional distributor.
Okay. So would you do you deal in metrics at all? I mean, is that one of your specialties, or is it basically anything that one of your customers wants you to supply?
It's really customer-driven, and so we do deal in metrics, stainless steel, in imperial measurements, whatever the need happens to be. We do some plastics and some parts in that arena, and then we do some hand wipes and some tools for people as well. It's really customer driven, and we try to cater to the specific need that they have, because our marketplace is not as rich as other marketplaces, and therefore we have to do more for different types of people and have a little broader spectrum.
You have to widen out the definition of the fastener somewhat.
Yes.
Okay. I think lots of people are doing that at the moment.
What are you seeing in terms of the gas and oil? I mean, we've heard reports from the south part of the country. We certainly know what's going on in the east. What are you seeing?
We've seen a bit of a downturn in that space. We have a couple good-sized customers in Utah that build equipment for oil field services. Some of it is platform equipment for offshore drilling, and some of it was related to the fracking industry. And they have both seen a fairly dramatic downturn in their business, and thus it's affected us as well, because they're just not building as many components and parts that they used to when oil prices were $100 versus $40. It's been tough for them.
Okay, so it's not a surprise, but I just figured I had to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's we watch that oil and gas thing pretty closely, because we find as it kicks up, our business gets a little bit better.
Well, hopefully as the oil price creeps up, things should return a little bit, okay? I mean, it's up to $40 or something a barrel now, which is a hell of a lot better than it was a month ago.
Yes, very much so.
Now, I know you're somebody who keeps your eye also on the Fastener Distributor Index, the FDI. Of course, a lot of our people have been reporting in, and their observations have been, let's say, substantially weighted on that whole gas and oil sector. But in terms of the overall FDI, how are you seeing that as it compares to your business or others in your geographic area?
Yeah, I appreciate that. As we look at the index and review it in comparison to where we've been, we saw a very similar pattern, particularly in the last 6 months, as the FDI indicated. We had the fourth quarter of 2015 was challenging, I guess is maybe a nice word for it. We could use other language like it sucked, but
right.
We'll say
a major understatement, you sort of think.
Yeah, but we'll say it was challenging, and we followed kind of the October, November, December pattern. We did see some strength in January, February, and our first quarter of this year was, we'll call it good. Not great, not excellent, but it was good. And it was similar to where the index is today. And it is a nice kind of a bellwether to kind of match ourselves against what's happening more broadly, as we don't want to get too myopic just to ourselves, but yet we really do want to try to beat the index and improve, and we've had a similar pattern.
A question for you. It's been my contention that theoretically, it should be that the FDI should be a leading indicator. In my simple view of the world, you have to start buying nuts and bolts and things like that before you can actually build anything. But if you look at the graphs, which map the FDI against the PMI, now it's showing that the PMI is leading the FDI. In other words, the PMI is going up, but the FDI is still continuing its downward sink. Why do you think the FDI could have been turned into a trailing indicator instead of a leading indicator?
That's a great question. And my observation on that would be the way that a lot of the manufacturers are trying to manage their inventory and manage their supply chain. We're feeling a fair amount of pressure actually a lot of pressure for having inventory just in time, literally just in time, and that the invoicing and billing from the OEM perspective, they don't want it to happen until the moment they use it. And so they're pushing back on us to say, hey, you manage that, you buy the product, you hold the product, you even deliver the product. And then when it hits our manufacturing line and we start the consumption of it, then you can invoice us. And I think they're pushing that down the line so that they can manage their cash flows differently and better. They can realize profitability, and they don't want to hold any of that. And so I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing some of these indicators being, I don't want to say manipulated, but that they're maybe looking and feeling a little bit differently than they have in the past, because I think a lot of these manufacturers are pushing that element of their business back into people like us and expecting us to manage that for them. And we're having to do that. And we're thus pushing it back all the way to our manufacturers and saying, we don't want to own it and hold it until we have to. And so can you do releases for us? Can you guys hold all that product in Taiwan or in Illinois or wherever the case may be until we absolutely have to have it? And so it just pushes everything backwards in the supply chain.
So in a way, if you can't bill until the very last minute when you're delivering something, and just say someone had 45 days payment, then in fact that's the difference, isn't it, between trailing and leading? They're not actually seeing the actual cost of that till a month and a half after they've actually used it.
Right.
Interesting comment. Hadn't really thought of that. It's a very great explanation. Okay.
Now, related to that, John, we've been hearing reports on this episode and slightly before about Asian steel prices rising up. We've, I guess, been taking it as gospel for the past couple of quarters that commodities are going down, but now we're hearing particularly out of China that there's some steel price hikes. Are you seeing any of that yet? And if so, what are the effects?
Great question. We're actually dealing with that just in the last hour here at THB. What it appears is happening in China is that the Chinese are starting to constrict some of the supply, thus allowing the prices to rise. We've seen just in the last 10, 12 days, we've seen scrap metal prices go from approximately $40 a ton to $70 a ton. And we this morning went to China to get a quote on some materials that we needed to bring in. And one of the comments we got from one of our suppliers was, this quote's good for 48 hours because the prices are fluctuating so dramatically. This is only good for 48 hours, so you need to let us know by tomorrow.
Whoa, okay.
And I was like, wow. And one of them actually no-quoted us and said, give us 10 days, we'll quote you. We want to see how things settle out. So this is very real time and fairly dramatic. And we said, well, we really can't wait 10 days because we have a customer that really wants to know now. And they said, we're not going to give you a price.
Wow.
We don't know where this thing's headed. Pretty shocked, to be honest.
Yeah.
Almost harkens back to the days when we were having issues with overseas transport, and people didn't know if they'd be able to supply it on that basis. But this is, of course, something entirely different. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. Was very interesting. and so it creates uncertainty for us because I don't know what's happening. And nobody wants to give me a real good answer yet.
John Bilton of THB, is there a particular product group that you're having this experience with? I mean, can you really focus us in a little bit tighter on this so we kind of know exactly what you're speaking about?
This was specific to mild steel, and it would be wire-formed fasteners of mild steel. And that's where we had the feedback this morning on that specific issue. And we weren't looking for tens of millions of this particular product, but it was, it's a lot. But that's the feedback we got immediately. We also sent feelers out to suppliers in South Korea and India, and we got a similar response. So our guys were kind of scratching their heads this morning going, hey, we're having a hard time on this particular mild steel product getting good feedback.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's really hard to sort of, do business ahead of time when you can't even get a quote.
Yeah.
Well, as if it's not hard enough doing business out there with all of these uncertainties flying around. And, of course, the complexity of your business. You're involved in VMI, kitting, bin stocking. You're shipping all over the world, John. And there's a lot to get your arms around. And I know THB is a company that strongly believes in ERP to help you manage it all. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Without a good ERP system, we couldn't do what we do. We happen to use InSequel software as our back end and front end for a tremendous amount of what we do here at THB, and have found it's a flexibility in allowing us to kind of customize it, for lack of a better term, to the needs that we have specific to our business has been tremendous for us. And I believe, frankly, that we've really challenged InSequel in some areas to help them develop and create a more robust product, because we've asked hard questions and said, can we do this? Can we make it do that? We've got a pretty extensive kitting business, and setting up kits and having what we call bulk versus kitting business in two separate areas for us has been, InSequel's done a tremendous job in creating an atmosphere in the software that allows us to do that. And we're being quite successful in making that work for us as a company. That's been kind of fun to do, and that ERP system's been really critical for us in making that happen.
Fun. Now, that's a word that I don't hear too often when people talk about their ERP.
Right.
That's a plug right there, man.
So, on other things, we've been associated, with InSequel for 4 or 5 years now, I guess, and we've been particularly of late doing some work with their product called Direct Connect. So, do you use Direct Connect?
We do. We're using Direct Connect with two of our largest suppliers, and our CSRs, as we call them, our customer service reps that do our ordering, and kind of our buyers in our organization, love Direct Connect because it's fast and it's, I guess maybe my terminology would be it's repeatable, and it does help us with our pricing, and it's been a great service for us. And so we use Direct Connect every day in our organization.
Good.
Now, for listeners who might not be familiar with this module, what does it actually do? What service does it provide for you?
It allows us to view inventory of our suppliers. It allows us to repeat ordering and see where the inventory is, see where it comes in, to hit our minimums for freight, to put multiple products on at one time, and it allows us to have the right discounting available to us. It's done electronically, so it's loaded into our ERP automatically, and it loads to them electronically, of course, and it makes business less expensive for both of us, less paperwork, less chance for error, and thus makes our business more, I think, frankly, more robust and quicker, and thus serves the customer better, too, because we're able to do that on an ongoing basis daily with Direct Connect.
Having that built right into your ERP platform is a great thing. It saves a lot of integration. Some companies have done that over the years with their key suppliers, just kind of on a one-off basis. Requires a lot of programming, time, effort, resources, and so forth. So that's a system that we're very, very interested in with InSequel, and thanks for that summary. I think that was pretty good. Let me ask you this. On a more generic level, talking about ERP in the fastener industry, it's a huge investment. It takes a long time to get your arms around. Let's just call it getting organized around an ERP platform. So it's a big investment. What are the biggest benefits that you would say, just again generically, that an ERP investment makes for a company like THB or another mid-sized fastener distributor?
I think the key component is you can know what your business is doing at any given moment. because the data, for the most part, is real time. And so if you want a snapshot of what's going on today, I can get a snapshot of what's going on today or the first 2 hours of the day. And so I think it makes you more responsive to what's happening in the market, what's happening with your business, and where you are at any given moment in time. And I think that's the key and critical thing for us. You know, doing month ends and getting through reconciliations, all the technical stuff that you have to do from an accounting perspective on the back end is there. But I think the benefit for us in managing the business is knowing where we are at any given moment and what's happening with our inventory, what's happening with our clients and our customers and our vendors. And that's all there. It's accessible, it's quickly accessible, and I can do an analysis very quickly as to what's going on. And we can make good decisions based on good data. And without good data, I don't think you can make very good decisions.
And John, how long has THB been invested in SQL software?
We've been with SQL now, I think, 6 or 7 years. And we're doing a couple other really, I think, exciting things for us within SQL. One is we've deployed a new website recently that uses SQL on the back end to take online orders and process those orders inside of our ERP SQL system. So that we're not setting up a whole nother system to do anything online. Our existing clients can come into our website. They can see their orders. They can see their invoices. They can see data and information related to their business. They can even repeat orders. They can say, yeah, I want that same order I had last time, exact one. They just check a box. Boom, it's done. And so it's a really slick system for them from the customer perspective, and it's great for gaining new customers as well because it's all there and available. And that's, I think, something that's pretty new for SQL and for us. We're one of the first, I think, in the country to do this. And then we also use SQL's mobile application called InMotion, and that's an exciting tool because our field reps that are outside every day calling on clients have access to the data as well as the ability to report what they're doing all inside our ERP, which is huge because we're not running 3 different systems. It's all in SQL ERP.
This is like a CRM system, is that right?
Yeah. It's really it's a great tool. It flows into the contact management section of SQL, Contact Manager, which is available in the desktop SQL portion. But this is the mobile piece that feeds back into that in real time. So I could look this morning and say, hey, my reps have seen these 3 customers already this morning, and that's there and available because they have to record that on their iPhone or their Google phone or their Android or their iPad or whatever they happen to be using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So you're pretty much able to use whatever mobile device you have with InMotion.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Can you believe it? Here it is, the fastener industry. We're talking about real time or darn near real time.
And using a phone.
Yeah.
That is great stuff. And congratulations to THB for being really on nearly the bleeding edge of the fastener industry tech-wise. That's great.
It's been great. And they've been a great partner to do it with because they've been very helpful in meeting our kind of, I don't want to say demands, but some of them have been demands. It's kind of been like, we really need this to do this. And they've been great in helping make that happen.
Oh, believe me, we talk to the technical team over at SQL on a regular basis, and are they demands? Yes, but hey, that's what the industry gets by cracking the whip a little bit. So I don't know if they'll be appreciative of us saying that publicly, but that's the way it works, right, Brian?
Yeah, yep. You can't make anything go forward unless someone's working out how to push the boundaries.
Yeah, well, we get a little bit of that ourselves. Hey, John Bilton, THB, it's wonderful to speak to you, and thanks for sharing so many insights with us today. You know, before we close out, I heard through the grapevine that you are an amazing customer golfer, and I don't exactly know what a customer golfer is. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, I play the best customer golf maybe in the country, which means I lose every single time with the customer. I do a great job of making that happen.
Okay, all right.
Maybe we should get into that too, Brian.
Yeah, I could be very good. I wouldn't have to try to lose though.
Okay. I figured I wouldn't pry too much until we actually had it from you, but that's what I heard. So good for you. It sounds like you're a very savvy sales guy.
All right.
If people want to learn a little bit more about THB, where do they go, John Bilton?
It's just simply thbsupply.com. So Tom, Harry, Bravo, supply.com. And that's where you can find us on the web. And that's probably the best place to find out what we do and how we do it.
Good. Okay.
Well, thank you so much once again for sharing some time with us. I think everybody learned a little bit, and it was very good to make your acquaintance during this process. I'm sure we'll be talking with you again.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate your time.
It's our pleasure, mate.
We'll be right back with more Fully Threaded Radio.
These guys aren't screwing around much. Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded Radio, Internet Talk Radio for the fastener industry.
Harry, now that you use InSequel software, how do you like it?
InSequel has delivered. They truly are written for fastener distributors. It's affordable and their support staff is great.
We found InSequel's support staff has depth. They know our industry, and they certainly know their software. I see they've helped you pronounce InSequel.
Yes, but what does InSequel mean? Is it written in SQL? Is the data stored in SQL? Are they located in SQL?
InSequel uses the industry standard Microsoft SQL database, which is why it's so powerful and easy to use.
Oh, the database is stored in SQL. I don't even know where that is. I hear it's a nice place.
Harry, InSequel uses a SQL database because it's current technology and your data is completely accessible. No more expensive custom reports.
Is that why InSequel is so easy to use? Where is SQL on the map?
One of their many support members will help you answer that. Go to their website, www.inxsql.com, or call toll-free 877-446-9775.
What makes Lindstrom a leading specialty fastener master distributor? For years, you've known Lindstrom as the premier name in metric fasteners, with an expanded product line that now includes the largest assortment of fasteners and components of any master distributor. Today, Lindstrom means much more than metric. At Lindstrom, we're focused on a single goal: to bring our distributors the perfect combination of convenience, flexibility, value, and choice, delivered by the most experienced sales team in the industry. For inch or metric fasteners, standard or special, in any finish, all packed to your requirements, turn to Lindstrom, where we have what you need and deliver it the way you want. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded brand of value-added products and services, visit LindstromFastener.com or call a sales representative at 1-800-572-5550. Lindstrom, by any measure.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
First, there was fire, and man said,
"Fire good."
Then there was the wheel, and man said,
"Wheel good."
With the invention of the wheel came the need for fasteners, and man loudly exclaimed,
"Buckeye good."
Buckeye Fasteners, providing quality products since the dawn of man. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company, proud fastener show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt Beer, official beer of the Traveling Salesman.
Tell them Grog sent you. Ugh.
Hi, this is Jackie with Stelfast in Chicago. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
You know, Brian, I don't know how often we've said this, but it so often happens that we have as much fun or more after we get done recording as we do during the actual interview.
Is this as we're working out how to get rid of the screw-ups we've made?
Well, that's a...
Or the stuttering or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
Or when Jack barks and we have to deal with dogs barking in the background or the postman knocking at the door, whatever.
Yes, those are all pieces of the fully threaded experience.
Right.
But this time we were talking with John Bilton, as most of you probably heard a few minutes ago. And, after we turned off the recorder, we got into a pretty interesting conversation about water skiing out west, which, I never think about water skiing, in that part of the country, in Utah and so forth, but I guess they've actually got a lot of water out there.
Yeah, well, he talked about Lake Powell, which is, down in southern Utah, southwestern, I guess. And, we were discussing our various beginnings into water skiing, and I guess learned to water ski in New Zealand, and it was very different. We had hydro lakes, quite often fed by mountains, and they were terribly, terribly cold. And so in the end, I just decided life was easier to live than freezing to death in the water at 7 o'clock in the morning. He had it much easier. He said it was for them, that was like bathwater stuff.
Well, yeah, I could see that, but probably for 3 months out of the year. I mean, come on, it's still Utah. And those are mountain lakes. I don't know if those are hydro dams out there or what, but I mean, I guess for the moment there's still a few hydro dams out there. Mm-hmm. But, I know. I remember you telling me some of those stories about your dad forcing you into the water at 7 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, and you couldn't sort of get in easily. You had to, there was a speed restriction, so you had to go out 300 yards from the shore and then jump into this freezing water. And I just thought it was easier not to go on holidays with my family, so I didn't have to go through this crap. So.
Explains a lot, Bri.
Yeah, and then I took up something even colder, which was snow skiing.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if people knew your penchant for going to beaches and so forth on vacation and how much you try to avoid the cold, it's even funnier.
Right. I know. If we were consistent, we'd be pretty boring people.
I'd like to thank John Bilton of THB for talking with us about water skiing and fasteners.
Right.
It was an interesting conversation, both on the record and off. Also like to thank Mr. Marc Strandquist of the Würth Group today, especially since he just got back from Taiwan and pretty much had time for a cup of coffee, talk to us, and then fly off to Germany, I believe it was, for a board meeting. So we really do appreciate that.
Yep.
Casey McIlhon and Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International spent some time discussing the Fastener Distributor Index. Great job, guys. And Carmen Vertullo had the Fastener Training Minute, as always. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stelfast. And Lindstrom, and a Lindstrom family of companies. Lindstrom, by any measure. Fully Threaded Radio is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, Fastener Technology International, Fastener Fair Mexico, InSequel Software, Indie Industries, The Würth Group, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. Get with us anytime, folks. The email address, ftr@fullythreaded.com, and we're also out there on Twitter. The handle's Fully Threaded. We look forward to all of your input and comments. Thanks so much for that in advance.
And keep the comments coming, too.
Hey, everybody, you're not going to want to miss episode 105 of Fully Threaded. We've got another great lineup of guests, including from Brighton Best International. Everybody knows Rosa Hearn. The Fastener Fair Mexico show, that's produced by Mac Brooks. Everybody knows that's coming up on June 1st and 2nd in Mexico City. I'm pretty sure a fair number of Fully Threaded radio listeners are going down there. Well, Rosa will be down there as well. She'll be presenting at the Mexico show, and among other things, she'll be talking about women in the fastener industry, which they're North American based, and Mexico falls in that purview. So she'll be down there spreading the Wi-Fi word, and we'll talk to her a little bit about that and other fastener subjects on the episode, so don't miss it.
Okay.
How do you like that, Brian? A rare preview on FTR. We're really getting our ducks in a row, huh?
I know. It's sort of frightening, really. I mean, we might get ourselves organized if we know what's happened.
And finally today, folks, this story was linked all over the place this week, and the site I took this particular version of it from was the dailymail.co.uk website. It's a story about a dog, and this one is about Maggie the dog. I don't think she was a fastener dog, but nevertheless, the story begins, Maggie the Kelpie, an Australian sheepdog that was thought to be the oldest in the world, has died at the age of 30, leaving her owner devastated. She was the best friend of Victorian dairy farmer Brian McLaren, who confirmed the news, saying that Maggie had passed away. The beloved dog was still wandering around the dairy in Woolsthorpe, west of Melbourne, and growling at cats in the weeks before her death. But Mr. McLaren said Maggie, who was more than 200 in dog years, went downhill in her last 2 days. It's sad, he said. We were great mates. Yeah, that is probably the hardest part of having a dog or a fastener dog around the place. They go downhill, but man, for 30 years, amazing story, huh?
Wow, that's sort of nearly beyond belief. I mean, that's very, very old for a dog. I don't expect Jack, the fastener dog, to be sort of reaching that, actually, but he's still pretty active, okay?
Yeah, well, you can only take so many skunkings, I think, without having some kind of deleterious effects on your long-term health.
Yeah, you'd think that he'd learn, but no.
And he likes fasteners, milk bones, and skunks. Not in that order.
And opossums.
Actually, as you know, folks, we frequently have a cameo appearance from Jack or Nick, both fastener dogs, on the podcast. But we bring it up for other reasons as well. At the top of the show, we were really thanking our sponsors for being a part of the Fully Threaded family. But stories like this, they remind us as though we need more reminders that life is short. And we recently, I guess recently had an experience that makes me think of that a little bit more so probably than usual. I had a really, really tough case of screwbola a couple weeks back. And I'd just like to thank so many of you out there in the podcast audience and the FCH network and other friends, of course, who reached out to me and wished me well during the time when it was really not looking so well. And just to let you know, it means a lot to me. And thank you. And thank you too, Brian, for helping me along. It was tough, and you guys really you lifted my spirits. So thanks to everybody.
That's fine. Okay, as people would know who've been through something like that, a warning is a good thing occasionally. Only occasionally, okay?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far, Brian.
Yeah, the warning about how mortal we are and what a knife edge that sits on.
Yeah, well, we're always operating under the sword of Damocles is really the way that at times I was looking at it. But again, stories like Maggie the sheepdog that catch your eye a little bit more after you've gone through an experience like that. And I guess it's something else we can all talk about when we meet next month at the Distributor Social. What do you think?
Yeah, I do. And look forward to being there myself, so it's going to be fun.
Yes, it will. So with that, why don't we put episode 104 of Fully Threaded Radio in the can?
Right.
Thanks one and all for listening, and we really do mean it. For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, get out to some of these association events, and thank your friends and your business partners for just being there. And we'll talk to you next time.
See you then.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
Oops.